But first, a Cold War thaw is developing news tonight. President Obama says it is time for a new approach as the U.S. and Cuba work to restore full diplomatic relations after more than 50 years of hostility. This agreement comes with the release of American Alan Gross, who was imprisoned for 5 years in Cuba. Cubans call this a wish come true. They celebrated in Havana tonight, but on our shores, not all Cuban-Americans are happy about it. 10 on your side's Jason Mark spoke to some of them tonight. Jason?
Tom, two men who were both born in Cuba and were forced to defect. They have very different views on what today's announcement means.
I thought that the day would never come.
A day when a political standoff between Cuba and the U.S. would stand down. That day could now be a reality.
The situation is very abnormal because this is almost the closest country geographically to the United States. And yet it's been our official enemy.
In January 1961, the U.S. cut relations with Cuba just after the Castro brothers led the country to a revolution.
Castro rode in glory into Havana.
Rene Perez Lopez was only 16 when he left his parents and two brothers behind to come to America.
I was forced to make the decision because life closed in on me.
That standoff between the countries spanned 5 decades and 10 presidents, but it's begun to crumble. President Obama wants to cut the shackles off the past to help the Cuban people.
I'm excited. I admire the move. I think it's very worthy of the kind of quality place that the U.S. is.
Whoever's idea was, it was a bad idea. It was a bad idea. Raul and Fidel Castro's are killers. They're no different than Pol Pot. They're no different than Adolf Hitler.
Al Guerrera left his home in Cuba when he was only 10.
I experienced, people in my family being put in prison. Luckily, nobody in my family was killed.
He's not sure why today's announcement has Cubans dancing in the streets.
What does it say? What does it say about the people who died, who lost their businesses, people who had their lives turned upside down? Everybody seems to say, oh, that's okay, that's old news. And that's not old news. It happened to me. It happened to a lot of my family.
Both Perez Lopez and Guerrera aren't sure how much things will change as long as the Castro brothers remain in power.
But we still have the Castro brothers, doing damage. How do we move to reasonable men and women in Cuba who would take government?
I see over there just two guys getting a free pass and getting away with it. I don't think it's right.
And both men wonder how this will impact the Cuban people. Will this make it better for them? Of course, only time will tell. Today's announcement could make it easier for Americans to travel and do business with Cubans. Jason Marks, 10 on your side.